being transgender is not a mental illness. Transgender just means that your sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with your sex. Some trans people do have gender dysphoria, which is a mental illness, but you don't need to have gender dysphoria to be transgender. When gender dysphoria is alleviated through surgery, social transitioning, hormones, that doesn't mean that this person is no longer transgender just because they no longer have gender dysphoria. And I already know I'm gonna get some people in the comment section saying something along the lines of, so then, if trans people don't have a mental illness, then why do they commit suicide at such a higher rate? Got him! White males commit suicide at a higher rate. Do you think it's because white male is a mental illness? Or do you think societal pressures contribute to the suicidality of white males? Let's stop acting like the higher rate of suicide is somehow proof that transgender people are mentally ill and shouldn't be accepted or something. Trans people have a higher suicide rate because of social stigma, not because they're transgender. This 2012 analysis of parental support for transgender youth actually found that just strong parental support alone drastically reduces the transgender person's likelihood of committing suicide. In fact, it cuts the likelihood of the transgender person attempting suicide from 57% to only 4%. Here's a newer study using some information from a 2015 transgender survey. They found that respondents who experienced discrimination or were a victim of violence were more likely to report suicide thoughts and attempts. Access to gender-affirming medical care is associated with a lower prevalence of suicide thoughts and attempts. So the reason transgender people have such a high suicide rate has nothing to do with them being transgender and everything to do with the social stigma currently surrounding transgender people, which is why I hope to continue to normalize transgender people.